Ditch the fairy tale princess. It's time to step outside the status quo and blaze your own trail. The path littered with setbacks, successes, and newfound passions. Why? Because when you break away from the script, you start to pursue a life by choice. One that is all yours. Live unscripted and rewrite your life.
Welcome back to the show. I'm excited to chat with you today about some things that have been going on in my life. And I always feel like when I turn the camera on and the microphone on, that it's just me and you, that we're sitting across from each other, having the world's most amazing latte, probably our second cup of coffee, to be honest, because that's what really gets me chatting and talking. And I feel like it's been a minute now. I hope you've been enjoying the show. I hope if you're new here, after this podcast episode, you'll feel like you know me. I love to share things that make me think. I love to share things that I know will make you think. And at the beginning of the year, I really sat in a lot of reflection around the changes I wanted to make. The end of 2022 didn't end exactly the way I thought it would. And I found myself really looking at my business and looking at my life, thinking some things have to change in order for me to feel different and for me to get a different result, right? If we do the same thing, we're going to end up with the same result. We know that. We know that to be true. I just was feeling out of alignment, I guess, which is one of those tricky words that I think has been, I don't want to call it misused lately or in the last couple of years. I know burnout, overwhelm, alignment, passion, purpose, all of those words carry so much weight. And I wanted to feel lighter. I wanted to feel more aligned. So I felt like I'd been in the same role, doing the same things for way too long. And after 22 years in the beauty industry, there was a reason I was feeling that way. But I wasn't really growing in the direction that I wanted to. So that's where I felt the alignment shift happening. And honestly, at first, what did I do? When I was feeling like that, I kind of complained about it. And it was really more of a cry for help now looking back. I'm recording this episode in beginning of April, and it takes a while to take action on how you're feeling, right? Because sometimes you're like, am I just feeling this in the moment? Is this truly how I'm feeling? What's really going on? And in my younger years, I was super reactionary. If I felt a certain way, I would say how I felt. I would take impulsive action. I would do things that maybe I didn't really think all the way through. And that generally didn't serve me super well. I mean, to be honest, I think sometimes making quick decisions can be helpful. But in those moments back in the day, I remember feeling like I wish I would have given this some more thought before I decided on something. And so when I started to feel that misalignment happening towards the end of the year, I looked around and I thought, you've created everything you thought you wanted. You have a beautiful space, a creative space that you can use. You can still do hair here. You can rent it out. It can be income producing. You can do the things you really want to do. But it's funny how sometimes you can be given, or you can create the things you thought you wanted, and then you sit with them and think, oh shit, is this truly really what I wanted? Or is this what I thought I wanted? Is this what I thought would make me happy? Is this what I thought would give me fulfillment and make me think I've, done the things? I don't know. Sometimes I'm at a loss for words like that. And that's why I don't script these podcasts, because I'm just like, what's really going to come up as I talk about these things? When I get vulnerable with you, when I share the real reasons behind what we do and don't take action on in life. And so, after I complained about it for a little while and kind of chatted with different friends and shared bits and pieces of it, I guess in hopes of getting the right answer or the permission I needed to let the space go. And, poor Scott, he was in the mix of all of this, helping me create it. And then when I turned around and was like, I don't know if I want this, I've never felt so supported in my life. I've never felt so supported with friendships and with my partner in saying, that's okay. That's okay. You can grow out of something. And if something's not lighting you up anymore, it's like good that you're feeling like you can express that and you can talk about it. But, I realized very quickly, nothing changes if nothing changes. So I decided it was time for things to change. And I was able to let that space go at the end of September. and really think about what I wanted. And so I released the pressure of having my own salon, having my own space. And I went and worked at my old salon in downtown San Diego, Hyde Edwards. Shout out to Rebecca, the owner there. And it was like a homecoming. And I thought maybe if I'm around people that I know and that I trust in an environment that feels comfortable, I can get back to a sort of sense of what do I want. And it was a beautiful 6 months I spent there just taking clients and kind of figuring things out as I went. And it was really like the first time in a long time that I'd give myself space to really step back and think, think about the bigger picture, think about things that I wanted out of business and life. And I ended up really like coaching myself through a 3-step process. And I thought, I know it's going to be a great idea to share with you, because in case you're also feeling out of alignment and you're not quite sure where to go, maybe you can start here. Because honestly, sometimes we don't really put the process to the paper. And I think that's what we're all searching for, is some sort of framework to help us get unstuck. And for someone who's a massive creative dreamer, visionary, it's sometimes hard for me to create these small frameworks to help other people. And that's why I struggled early on with my coaching business, was I couldn't put things into framework for people. And so I thought, therefore, that wasn't going to make me a good coach or mentor. But I realized that I get to show up in my full expression and that I can create frameworks for people to make my thoughts make sense, right? And I've been coached by some amazing people who have helped me get a lot of clarity and who have helped me be able to tap into listening to that intuitiveness that we all have, that knowingness, that voice that is talking to us, that shares with us what we want. But sometimes we don't listen because we stay in the crazy busy, right? Okay, so here's the 3-step process I want to share with you. The first one, it's really simple, and you're going to slap me through the microphone when you listen to this. Get clear on what you actually want. Because remember what I said a few moments ago about having the space and walking in there feeling like I'd created this. I had such pride for the space and I loved it. And I really, looking back, realized I loved the creation process of stuff. I love the excitement of something new and building on ideas. And I love that feeling of hard work and seeing something as a result of that. And those spaces that I've created over the years have given me that. But when I really peeled back the layers of getting clear on what I wanted, I realized it wasn't the space. It was the fact that I wanted to feel location free, that I wanted to have a sense of freeness in my life from being stuck to one space. So if you're not clear on what you want, there's a really low chance that you're going to get it. The problem is that sometimes you want to change, but you just can't put your finger on what it is that you want or what needs to change. And that's where you really need to dig deep. My friend Gina Aliotti, that's her quote, that's her mantra, one of her many amazing mantras. Dig deep. And sometimes it's hard to dig deep below the surface of your feelings, of life, of your emotions, of what actually is going on, to ask yourself the questions. And this is why, if you follow me on social media or you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that when I get quiet with myself in the morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. every single day to go sit on the couch and be quiet with myself, to thoroughly be grateful and enjoy my warm cup of coffee, and to create that time to journal. And it's in those moments, especially in times like this, where we have to go beyond those surface level thoughts and feelings so that you can really figure out what you want and what you need to do to make it happen. Some of my most profound thoughts happen at 5 o'clock in the morning while I'm in this state, right? Because I've given myself this window of time for just this exact purpose. Sometimes it's very uncomfortable, especially when I'm going through shit. I don't want to sit with myself. I don't want to journal. I don't want to think about it. I want to distract myself. I want to go, to the gym and put on some crazy music and, take some pre-workout and just aggressively work out so I don't have to think or feel about what's going on. But I promise you, when you create this space and this time, it's so worth it when you can tap into that deeper sense of self to get clear on what you actually want. And when you get specific, when you dig into those details and figure out what's not in alignment with your current reality, that is when you can flip the script to figure out what actually is. Okay, the second piece to this Because once you're clear on what you want, it's time to start making it a reality, right? All right. So second piece is be willing to ask for what you want. Oof. Ask of yourself, ask from those around you, speak it into the universe. It's really around taking action. So be willing to ask for what you want. Ask yourself, how are you going to take the steps to move forward? How are you taking the steps to move forward? Are you willing to have these uncomfortable conversations? Most of them with your goddamn self. Are you willing to actually make a change to advocate for yourself? Because if you're letting life happen to you, you are probably going to have to be your own advocate to stop doing certain things that are making you feel out of alignment, that you know are not serving your higher purpose or serving that number one. What do you, yes, you, it's just me and you here. What do you actually want? And I am here for you. If you want to send me a DM and tell me what you actually want, but you're not willing to tell anybody else in your life, I got you. I would never repeat it. I'll support you. That is why I have this podcast. If it's just me and you, if there's just you listening, I want to help one person figure out what they actually fucking want and help you be willing to ask for the things you need in order to get there. Take the steps, take the action steps to get there. Because taking action or asking for what you want, I know it's vulnerable and it can be really uncomfortable. And this is what they mean about doing the work. But do you know what's a lot worse than being vulnerable and uncomfortable? Staying exactly where you're at. Especially once you've realized you need to make a change, right? Somebody said to me once recently, or maybe I overheard this, when they were talking about the things they wanted to do and create. Yeah, I overheard someone getting coached on this. And the person asked, a few questions about what was going on currently in their life. And there was some fear going on around what they wanted to do and why they couldn't do it, time, money, that imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, worthiness, all the things that we normal people feel. And the other person who was coaching them looked at them and said, "Oh, well, I have great news for you." And they were like, "What?" They kind of leaned in a little bit. And she was like, "You're currently living your worst case scenario." How fucking awesome is that? And the other person just kind of sat back like they just got slapped. And they were like, "Huh, I am. I'm literally living my worst case scenario right now." Because what happens if you actually try to go after what you want? What's the worst thing that's going to happen if you figure out and get really clear on what you want in your life? You're maybe going to have those empowered feelings and support to go after it. And what if you had to go right back to what you were doing? You'd probably be okay. So if you're currently living in your worst case scenario, you're going to be fine. It's going to be okay to figure out what you want and ask for those things and have those uncomfortable, vulnerable conversations, right? And this last third piece is something that I think I've really honed in and picked up on from my beautiful friends who are manifestation coaches, my beautiful friends who create containers to help you expand, my beautiful mentors and people that don't even know they're my mentors, podcasters, social media influencers, if you will, have taught me that you can get so crystal clear on what you want. You can take all of the fucking action in the world. But if you are not willing to receive what you want, it's not going to come to you and you're not going to be able to keep it. This is such a big one. I want you to hear me on this. Let's say that you're wanting to let go of doing certain tasks in your business. So you delegate it or life, but you continuously keep micromanaging the task so that you never fully let it go. You're not in a place willing to receive what you want. If you truly want what you want, you've got to be willing to not just, action it, but to receive it, even if it takes some growing pains along the way. And I have a lot of ways I can share how I kind of had to do that over the years, especially when I scaled my behind the chair business. I mean, there's absolutely no way you can do 10 to 12 clients a day without an assistant. And as much as it pained my clients to have anybody else come near them, we created a process and a system. And when I started delegating out things to my assistant and my team, that's when everything shifted for me. I fell more in love with the business. My clients got a more clear-headed, focused, excited version of me. Therefore, their hair came out better. And we all had the ability to watch each other grow and support one another. So even after 10-hour days with 10 to 12 clients, I felt more energized than I did if I only did 3 clients by myself. Staying in my zone of genius rather than just my zone of excellence helped me to really scale and grow my brand in the beauty industry. And it took some growing pains. Nobody blow dries as good as me. I'm just going to say that right now. Nobody shampoos as good as I do, right? And as much as I trained my assistants, my clients loved what I did. That's why they came back year over year. And I think sometimes we have to own what we are good at and understand that in order for us to really grow and scale our business and our life, we have to ask for help. We have to get really vulnerable and have uncomfortable conversations around what maybe doesn't light you up anymore and how you can really show up as the fullest version of yourself. So I want you to just take some action on these 3. The first one, again, was getting clear on what you actually want. Maybe you need to go out for a coffee date with yourself. Maybe you need to take yourself to dinner and treat yourself as if someone was asking you, what do you really want? If I waved a magic wand, what would you change? What would you call in? What would you let go of? And would you be willing to ask for it? And the third piece, if I handed it to you, would you be willing to receive it? Because the receiving piece for me, I've watched so many people get clear on what they want, speak it into the universe, take that action, take the inspired, raw, messy action, and then be unable to receive it as it started to come to them. And that reminds me of a book that I've read that I'm actually rereading again. And it really talks a lot about our upper limits and about how we are not conditioned for overflow. We are only conditioned to stay at a state that we've grown up in. We have these upper limits of what experiences feel like, or happiness, or love, or joy, or abundance, or financial abundance. If you've only ever seen it hit a certain level, you too may only be willing to have it at a certain level. So mantras I love to say to myself that allow for the abundance to flow in is, money flows to me easily and freely. I choose to live an abundantly happy and joyous life. I choose to find the peace and joy in every single day. I want you to create some mantras that will prime you and get you in a state to receive. You can probably get really clear. Maybe you do know what you want. Let's just say you do know what you want already. One's already done. I'm speaking to those that have a little bit more clarity around what they want. Write down the changes that need to happen. Write down the experience you want to have. Get clear on what needs to happen in order for maybe your roles to change, whether that's at home or in work. And then when you start to put the changes in place, don't backtrack. Don't jump in when maybe the person you've delegated to isn't doing it the way you want, right? Maybe that's your partner. Maybe you've asked them to step up and do certain things around the house or with your kids, but when they do, you're quick to be like, not like that. How many mamas out there are nodding their head right now? Like, yeah, my husband does not change a diaper like I do. He does not do the dishes like I do. He does not clean the floors like I do. Oh, the pain and the anguish I wasted in the early years when Kai was little. My goodness gracious. I wish somebody had given me this framework when I was starting out in motherhood. Processes like this can be total game changers for you. And it's what will allow you to actually move in the right direction as we move into the middle of the year so that you can experience the change you might actually be wanting. So if you're in a season right now where you're feeling out of alignment and can tell some things need to change, I challenge you that yes, game on, challenge on, to carve out some time the rest of this week or whenever you're tuning in and lean into this process. Get clear on what you want, ask for what you want, and receive what you want. It's definitely going to have some uncomfortable moments, but I promise you it's going to make such a difference once you're able to feel back in alignment with yourself again. And trust, this is something you're going to probably have to do every couple of years, depending on the state of growth that you're in, depending on the things that you want. You will fall out of alignment again, but trust that this process can get you back in the game. As always, I would love to hear if this podcast was helpful, useful, or if it sparked anything for you. You can always message me, DM me, hit me up on Instagram. I love hearing from you. I love knowing what it is you want to bring out into this world. And when you ask for that support, girl, trust me, it's the only, people can't read your mind. It's the only way that others know how to support you. So I promise doing this work and spending this time is going to make such a difference in the next season in your life. What will your future self thank you for that you could do today? Don't put shit like this off for too long, because feeling out of alignment has a ripple effect to those around you. It can cause things physically, mentally, emotionally that you might otherwise be able to avoid. So this is your love note from your friendly love doc, Jess, reminding you that only you can take the action needed to change your life. That's why having this podcast called Unscripted is you have the gift and the chance at any moment and any day to rewrite your script, to rewrite how things have been going for you. Make the choice to make the changes that need to happen. Lean in for support. Find your people. If you're looking for a community of like-minded women who are in this season and doing the work, you're invited to join the Beauty Insiders, which is now called the Insiders Collective. It is a mentorship group of women who collectively know that accountability and community are the pieces that keep them connected. We get together every other Monday, online and Zoom. We have beautiful guest speakers that come and pour into the group once a month, sharing insight on tools and strategies and ways that they have pushed through. We dive deep into business, life, and everything in between. If you have any questions, everything's in the show notes. I look forward to serving you. I hope you love this episode. And until next time.
Creating this podcast is as much fun as it sounds, and it's not hard. You're worthy of sharing your expertise with the world. So I've broken it down so you can start your own damn podcast in 4 weeks or less. Head to the link in the show notes to start now.